We know where we are now in our country is like a critical junction. I was just talking to somebody this morning. I said, in the past 2 weeks, we've had a position where the President of America has made a statement, and in that critical tweet, issue of genocide, killings were mentioned. Where we have a situation where somebody mentions something, and instead of looking at the stark reality, are they killings? Yes. We spend time debating whether it's genocide or not. When I think we should have put ourselves together, face the stark reality that is the killings, and find out how we can organize diplomatically, how we can be helped. But for me, what is most important in that tweet is the second line, which says, non-disgraced country. People have asked me, because I've read a lot of news, people are saying, are we disgraced? Are we now this? As a philosopher, one thing that is central in philosophy is that unexamined life is not worth living. You must go back to yourself and ask yourself. So somebody asked me that question, said, non-disgraced country. I said, what are you talking about, non-disgraced country? What is wrong in it? Why is it that anytime people make comments, instead of looking inward, we're looking the other way around? You are a country with the highest number of 4 people living in one country, 130-something million. You've even gone beyond where a combination of the 2 biggest countries in the world, which is India and China put together, nearly 3 billion, you have more people living in poverty than 2 of them combined. And you're worried that somebody called you now disgrace. Why don't you look back and know where there's anything that's causing you disgrace behind you? You're a country where you have 20 million people, children out of school. No other country. And you're not worried that somebody called you non-disgraced. We've overtaken India, 7 times our population in infant mortality, and you're worried that somebody called you non-disgraced. You're one of the hungriest country of the world. Even Ukraine at war dashed you grain to fight hunger, and you're saying non-disgrace. Why don't you look back and know whether there's a disgrace behind you that you can deal with? You're one of your safest place to live in. And that's what I want you people to look at when you read it. It's not about, because some of us, often when we say, even people say, oh, you are demarketing the country. It is not demarketing, to tell the truth. So I urge you, you have what it takes to start getting us politicians, to start thinking differently. It's not as if we don't take steps that are not. Yeah, there might be steps we're taking that are good. Nobody says everything is bad. For example, we remove subsidy. That is a good decision. We've unified the currency. That's a good decision. But for God's sake, you cannot do this too, because you've seen World Bank now and said, Nigeria took this decision. But why is that this good decision not working for us? Because you cannot tell people to fast when you're 50. You need to deal with the executive rascality of expenditure before your monetary policies can work. You need to deal with corruption. You need to deal with the issue of the cost of running government. I was telling somebody this morning, I said, listen, we've just had a new mayor of New York. I said, the young man is on age, level of 36, 40. I said, Google his net worth. He's worth about $200,000. He's running a city with a budget of about 115 billion, 3 times Nigerian budget. Yet, if they see that young man with 2 vehicles on the road, I can assure you, he will not be mayor the next day. His goodwill that I'm supposed to be telling you, but I need to also bring things you need to think about. For me, I want you people to do tour. President, go to your national hospital. You can't stay there. The stench there will not allow you to stay there. It's your #1 hospital in the world. The budget of that place is about 10% of the budget of National Assembly Clinic. It's your #1 hospital. If you look at your 2024 budget, the National Assembly Clinic had about 15 billion. Your 6 biggest teaching hospitals, Ibadan, University of Ibadan, Nsukka, University of Lagos, University of Maiduguri, Ilorin and Jos put together is not up to that amount. They are capital vote. We're building 4 biggest bus stations in the 6 geopolitical zone for 142 billion. When you don't have a primary health care in all those regions, that is 60% is not functional, mothers can go to hospital and give birth and be alive. And we're building bus station. Which bus? So when they say now disgrace, you look back and see whether there's disgrace.
Nigeria is in a defining moment. A moment where the truth is no longer optional and silence is no longer neutral. What happened at the Nigerian Guild of Editors event was not just another political gathering. It was a mirror placed right in front of us, forcing the country to confront the image it has been avoiding for far too long. Today, Nigeria is a nation caught between what it claims to be and what it truly is. We constantly describe ourselves as the giant of Africa, yet our realities continue to betray that title. And the most damaging part of this contradiction is not that the world sees it, but that we are still pretending not to. What stood out at that event was not the statistics or the comparisons or the official tone. It was the courage to say what many leaders avoid, that Nigeria cannot fix what it refuses to admit is broken. We have built a culture where pointing out a national problem is seen as an attack instead of a responsibility, where calling for accountability is treated like disloyalty. This is why Nigeria is stuck. Not because the problems are too big, but because the denial is bigger. Look around. We argue about labels instead of fixing issues. We attack messengers instead of addressing the message. We debate optics instead of confronting outcomes. Meanwhile, insecurity deepens, poverty expands, institutions collapse, and the average Nigerian continues to bear the weight of a system that refuses to reform. The significance of that event is that for once, a national conversation shifted from self-praise to self-awareness. And whether you agree with Peter Obi or not, his intervention forced a critical point into the open, that Nigeria cannot continue sugarcoating its failures while expecting meaningful progress. Every functioning nation today has gone through this stage, the moment where leaders and citizens agree to tell themselves uncomfortable truths. South Africa did it. Rwanda did it. Singapore did it. Even the United States, for all its flaws, constantly confronts its weaknesses. That is how nations grow. But in Nigeria, we fear honesty. We defend failure. We normalize dysfunction. We romanticize suffering. We reduce governance to a performance instead of a responsibility. And so the cycle continues. The message from that gathering was not about who is right or wrong. It was not about party or tribe or political loyalty. It was about the future and whether we still have the courage to build one. The editors in that hall represent a powerful institution, the conscience of the nation. And if the conscience becomes silent, then the nation becomes blind. This is a moment for Nigerians to choose clarity over comfort, to choose truth over political sensitivity, to choose progress over propaganda. Nigeria can change, but that change begins the moment we stop arguing about whether the country is great and start asking what it will take to make it great. If you find this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe. Drop your views or reaction in the comment. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.